Alright, so first things first, we got to plug this in to our DLC connector. With that plugged in, there should be power supplied down to the scan tool. Now I got to go key on engine off, obviously, to pick up the information. Now this is a 2000 Ford F-150 with a 4.6 liter. And we're checking it with the Diagnostic. It's got a check engine light on. Not sure what to expect here. This is the new C-Reader 319 made by Launch pocket scan tool. It's actually pretty nice. It's almost got a 32-inch cable, which allows you to sit in the seat. I came down here because of the lighting. So it looks like we got 6 DTCs in the computer. The readiness monitors are okay, are 8. Readiness monitors incomplete, 0. 2 readiness monitors that are not applicable. And it looks like it's going to give us a data stream of like 33 different PIDs maybe. So that's pretty impressive. You turn it on, you hit diagnose, and right away it's letting you know what's going on. All right, let's hit OK. Let us read some codes. Let's see what we got in here. Okay, so first code up is a P0174 System 2 Lean Bank 2. The second trouble code is P0206. That's going to be a fuel injector. So cylinder 6. We got a P0300 or multiple cylinder misfire. And it tells you right here. I love this so far. Look, it's actually telling you what it is outside of just giving you a code. Now I've used various code readers in the past where it just gives you the code and then you got to look it up. So the fact that it tells you what's going on is impressive to me for a pocket style scan tool like this. P0302, so it looks like we have a misfire on cylinder number 2 as well. Could be a coil, could be plug. P0306, so now we got 2 things happening on cylinder number 6. Could be an injector, could be a coil, could be a plug, or the engine could be toast. You know, like that on that Jeep that we were checking out. All right, let's continue. We got 2 more codes here. P0316, engine misfire detected on startup, first 1,000 counts. And then number 7, coolant thermostat, below threshold or below thermostat, coolant temperature. So that's interesting. So see if you continue, even though it says 7 to 7, coolant temperature below thermostat, regulating temperature. So this is really cool. All right, let's go back. Let us go to our data stream. We're going to start this and we're going to see what's going on. But first, let's scroll through the kind of data PIDs that we have available to us. So, short-term fuel trim, long-term. Looks like they got sensors on both banks. We got our map, RPM, VSS, spark advance, idle air temp, map sensor, throttle position, currently at 18%, O2. Some more short term, some O2s, different values. Fuel rail pressure. So it's telling you what the fuel rail pressure is. Let's see here, what else we got? TAC. Cool. Just out of curiosity, let's see what happens to this fuel rail pressure when I start it up. Okay, I think I found a pretty good spot here. So we're monitoring our fuel rail pressure. Let's see what goes on. Now that we have the engine running, and you can feel the misfire, let's scroll through some of our other live data. take a quick peek at the freeze frame data, see what it has. Look at that, short-term fuel trim, 23.4. So believe that's a lean condition. That's pretty high. I think it's supposed to be like plus or minus 10%. So could have something going on maybe around the intake. We'll have to check that out. This is when the DTC's set. Cool. Alright, now we're just going to take a quick visual of the coils and injector harness just before we decide to start jumping into some potentially unnecessary testing. So we're just going to try to check it out. I want to get a good idea. Make sure there's no rodent damage or anything like that. Coils all look to be relatively new and replaced. We'll have to inquire about that. All right, cool. All right, so here's our cylinders right here that we're going to be looking at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Driver side, passenger side. We're going to pull plugs on 2 and 6 and see what happens. Okay, so here's spark plug for cylinder number 2, and actually it doesn't look all that bad. It is a Motorcraft. And here is for cylinder number 6, and this actually looks a little bit oil fouled. So I think the next step is going to be to remove the fuel pump relay and do a compression test. Alright, I do not know if I can do a clear flood mode on this, but I'm getting ready to do the compression test. So the gas pedal all the way to the floor. I'm going to attempt to crank. Hopefully it doesn't turn over. Beautiful. That should be enough revolutions. Let's go take a look at the compression. Okay, so for cylinder number 2, looks like about 160 PSI. That's pretty good. So let's do the same thing now on cylinder number 6. Okay, now we have misfire code for P0302. The plug looked good, but we had 2 different codes for cylinder number 6. We had a P0306 and a P0206. Now this is the one that had the oil fouled spark plug. So again, I'm going to put it in clear flood mode. Hopefully it doesn't crank. So I'm going to depress the gas pedal and we're going to crank it for a few seconds and then double check our compression. The reason why I'm doing this now, because the last time, if you guys remember, I did the Jeep, I should have just jumped right to that test, because with a misfire code, hey look, you're already going to be in it checking plugs. It's real quick to do a compression test. So let's just see what happens. This is cylinder number 6. All right, let's go take a look at the results. Absolutely no compression whatsoever. And that was for at least 6 Mississippis. All right, so now we're gonna have to do a cylinder leak down test to determine what the cause of the problem is and where the leakage is coming from. All right, so we got the cylinder leak down tester hooked up. For cylinder number 6, we're looking for some kind of cylinder differential loss. It's going to be kind of hard to do with one hand, but we got to pull this out. We got to turn this knob like so to allow the air to flow through. And you'll see it'll move this one too, like so. And we should be at top dead center right now for cylinder number 6 as well. So keep running it up. Be back with you guys momentarily. So according to my tester, there's no cylinder loss whatsoever, which is very interesting. We're at top dead center. If we had a loss, this needle should be in the red or yellow as a moderate, and then of course this would be the inlet pressure. We we can maneuver things like the throttle body to see if we hear any air escape, or the crankcase. Kind of hard to hear with them revving the engine, but you would listen for some air coming through there, or possibly a light gurgle. Where's our coolant? Or you can undo this and listen and look for bubbles. And then the last place you'd check is back here at the exhaust. You'd put your ear back here and listen. All right, so now we've reached a point of impasse. It has now become an issue of mechanical failure. We don't know exactly which direction we're going to go at this point. The best direction to go is to take a valve cover off and see if we can see any kind of mechanical damage. We could have a flat lobe on a camshaft. We could have a rocker arm that fell off. But a little bit difficult to determine at this point without removing extra stuff, because as you saw in the video, we had almost no compression, 5 to 10 psi in that cylinder. Wet compression test wouldn't do us any good because of how very little compression we had. So we jumped to the leak down test, which showed that there was actually no leak down. So that was kind of interesting. I had never seen that before. Seeing it today, I had a few questions. I asked my boss offline. He kind of explained it to me. And what it comes down to is a mechanical failure at this point. But let this video be an example that you do not necessarily need to have a $5,000 or $10,000 scan tool to give you a starting point, of a building block, so to speak, because everyone has to start somewhere. Now, in past videos that I've done, I didn't necessarily start on the same exact path, and at this point in time, since experience has taught me just in the last couple of weeks that if I have some misfire stuff going on and I'm already having to look at the condition of the spark plug, as I'm taking it apart and checking out the electrical connectors and making sure there's nothing wrong with the harness going to it, then at that point it's not too incredibly difficult to put a compression tester in and check compression. Seeing that we didn't have very much compression, went to the leak down. Leak down showed us that we had no leak down. Now we're at a mechanical fault. And what tools did I use for this entire test? 3 tools. I used a scan tool that most anybody can afford that costs less than 60 bucks that you could purchase on Amazon, the C-Reader 319, as well as my Lang cylinder leak down tester, as well as my Craftsman compression tester. So again, I didn't use a killer expensive scan tool to help me or guide me in the direction that I had to go. So most anybody, to include my weekend warriors or my DIY guys, or even my lube techs that are just starting off that are looking for a scan tool. Guys, let me be the first one to tell you this. If you're at a dealership and you're a lube tech and you're just starting off, the last thing that you want to do is get buried in debt with a $5,000 to $10,000 scan tool that you're going to use a half a dozen times. Why? Because the dealership is already providing you with the best scan tools that they can possibly provide you for that specific manufacturer. So as I was working at Chrysler, we had the DRB3. We had the VCI pod, we had the MicroPod 2. We had 3 scan tools to utilize at our disposal to diagnose and determine what the issues were with the Chrysler product line. We didn't need another means or alternative of a scan tool. Some of us, as we progress throughout our career, might decide to pick one up for other vehicle platforms, because sometimes you'll run into situations where you're working on a different vehicle, whether it's domestic, Asian, or European, but you will not see those check engine lights as a lube tech or a level 1 tech. Those specific diagnostic repair orders are going to be given to the more seasoned tech, the one that has the tools to do the job. So don't feel like you need to be in a hurry to buy something killer expensive. Something like this is going to serve you quite well, and you'll be thanking me later because you didn't have to spend an arm and a leg to pull a code for your boss or your shop lead or your team lead, whoever's in charge of you. Look, sometimes they want you to pull a check engine light code to see what's going on. All you need is something down and dirty and simple. It'll give you a starting point. And if they want you to research and go into a little bit more detail as to what it is that you found, at least this gives you some parameters as far as the PID list is concerned. And it boots up really quickly. Maybe they don't want you to diagnose or check a check engine light at all. Maybe they want you just to find out if the monitors have been set and the vehicle is ready to smog. In my case, because I'm mostly a mechanic and not a diagnostician where I currently work at the independent shop, that is probably the #1 thing that I check on a daily basis is emission monitors, to make sure the monitors have set so my diagnostician or my smog tech can actually smog the vehicle. Because if the vehicle's not ready to smog, it's a waste of his time to set up the entire machine. That's all I got for this video, guys. If it helped you, give me a thumbs up. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video and didn't find it useful whatsoever, I don't know what to tell you. I went to great extents to show you the entire process. I was feeling very fortunate and thankful to be able to actually do some diag work today. We had a little bit of a lull, and it gave me an opportunity. My boss was totally cool with it. Thank you, boss, man. I appreciate it. All right, guys, that's all I got for this video. Thanks as always for watching. Again, make sure to hit that thumbs up. We'll see you guys next time. Deuces.